Sacagawea was born around 1788 in the Lemhi Valley, an area that today lies in the state of Idaho in the United States. She belonged to the Shoshone tribe, a Native American people who lived close to nature and relied on the land for their survival. Her earliest years were shaped by the rhythm of life in the mountains, rivers, and wide grasslands. From a very young age, she learned the basic skills needed to survive in the wild. Like many Shoshone children, she watched her elders gather berries, roots, and herbs and quickly picked up how to find food in the rugged landscape. She helped with fishing in the nearby streams and observed how her family tracked animals during hunts. These experiences taught her not only practical skills but also an understanding of the land that would later prove crucial in her role as a guide. Her childhood was simple but not without its challenges. The harsh winters and the constant need to find food and shelter demanded resilience and courage. Living so close to nature also gave her a deep knowledge of plants, rivers, and trails. These lessons from her early life in the Shoshone tribe shaped Sacagawea into a strong and resourceful young girl. Though she could not have known it then, these skills would one day help her guide an entire expedition across unknown territories. Her beginnings among the Shoshone people laid the foundation for her remarkable journey as one of the most important figures in early American history. Sacagawea's early years were marked by the warmth and closeness of her Shoshone community. She grew up in a small tribal village where life followed the cycles of the seasons. Even as a young girl, she was surrounded by the sounds of rivers rushing through the valleys, the wind in the tall grass, and the stories told by elders around the fire at night. These stories carried the wisdom and traditions of her people, teaching her about the spirits of the land, the importance of cooperation, and the meaning of courage. From an early age, she learned to respect nature and to understand its signs, which guided the tribe in hunting, gathering, and traveling. Her days often involved helping the women gather berries, roots, and medicinal plants from the nearby hillsides. She watched the men prepare their weapons and return from hunts, bringing food that sustained the community through harsh winters. She also saw how her elders traded furs and goods with neighboring tribes, and these exchanges sparked her curiosity about people beyond her valley. This peaceful upbringing gave her a strong sense of belonging and taught her the value of community life. The skills she learned and the wisdom passed down to her during these formative years prepared her for the many hardships she would later face. This period of stability and learning created the foundation for her resilience and resourcefulness, qualities that would later make her indispensable to the historic expedition she would one day join. Sacagawea's life changed dramatically when she was about 12 years old. Her village was attacked by a group from a rival tribe, and during the raid she was taken captive. Torn away from her family and the familiar landscapes of the Shoshone homeland, she was forced to travel hundreds of miles eastward. This journey was harsh and frightening for a young girl, but it revealed her inner strength. She adapted to new surroundings and survived hardships that might have broken others. Eventually, she was traded or sold to a French-Canadian fur trapper named Toussaint Charbonneau, becoming his wife at a very young age. This chapter of her life was filled with uncertainty and challenges. Yet, it also brought her into contact with new cultures, languages, and ways of living. She learned to communicate not only in Shoshone but also in Hidatsa and some French, a skill that would later prove invaluable. Her knowledge of both native and European cultures, combined with her familiarity with the land, set her apart as someone who could bridge two worlds. Though these were difficult years, they shaped her resilience and gave her the experience that prepared her for the extraordinary role she would soon play in American history. Her ability to endure loss, adapt to unfamiliar people and places, and learn from every situation helped transform her from a Shoshone girl into a guide and interpreter who would one day accompany one of the most famous expeditions in the United States. In 1804, when Sacagawea was still a teenager, her life took another unexpected turn. Her husband, Toussaint Charbonneau, was hired as an interpreter by the leaders of the Lewis and Clark expedition, a historic journey commissioned by President Thomas Jefferson to explore the vast western territories of the United States. Because Sacagawea spoke Shoshone and had knowledge of the land, she was chosen to join the expedition alongside her husband. Remarkably, at the time of joining the journey, she was pregnant with her first child. Sacagawea gave birth to her son, Jean-Baptiste, in the spring of 1805, just before the expedition entered some of the most challenging parts of their journey. Carrying and caring for an infant while traveling through mountains, rivers, and harsh wilderness was no small task, yet she managed it with extraordinary determination. Her presence brought a sense of calm and even safety to the group. Seeing a woman with a baby reassured many native tribes that the expedition was not a war party. Throughout the expedition, she helped guide the team through unfamiliar lands, pointed out edible plants, and played a crucial role as a translator when they met Shoshone leaders. Her knowledge of the terrain and her ability to communicate with her people ensured the expedition's success in crossing the Rocky Mountains and reaching the Pacific coast. Despite her youth and personal challenges, Sacagawea became an indispensable member of one of America's greatest journeys of discovery. Sacagawea's journey with the Lewis and Clark expedition left a lasting legacy that far outweighed her young age and humble beginnings. After guiding the expedition across vast and often dangerous landscapes, she returned to a quieter life, but her contributions became part of the story of America's early exploration. Her knowledge of the land and her ability to communicate with different native tribes were crucial in helping the expedition establish peaceful relations and find safe routes through the wilderness. She showed remarkable courage, traveling thousands of miles while caring for her infant son and enduring harsh conditions without complaint. Her presence also symbolized cooperation between cultures at a time when trust was rare. The expedition's leaders, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, often acknowledged her importance to their success. Although Sacagawea died young, around the age of 25, her story continued to inspire generations who saw her as a figure of resilience, wisdom, and unity. In later years, her life was celebrated as an example of the vital role Native American women played in shaping the history of the United States. Monuments, rivers, and even a U.S. coin were named in her honor, recognizing her contributions as a guide and a bridge between worlds. Her legacy is not just about the miles she traveled but about the courage, adaptability, and hope she embodied during a pivotal moment in America's past. Sacagawea remains a timeless reminder of how one individual can influence the course of history through strength and perseverance. As the sun set over the rugged western hills, the young Shoshone woman who once wandered the valleys of Idaho had already left her mark on one of the greatest journeys in American history. Sacagawea's courage, her knowledge of the land, and her unwavering spirit turned a dangerous expedition into a path of discovery and connection. Though her life was short, her story continues to echo across generations, reminding us that even in the harshest circumstances, one voice and one heart can guide many. Join us in the next episode as we uncover how Sacagawea's presence shaped the critical decisions of the expedition and the challenges they faced in the vast, untamed wilderness of the American frontier.